Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Rival Esports, and this is the Spring Open, the continuation of the Spring Open. As we switch out the casters, we've got myself, Sam Ale, in here with Namby. A great job done by Digital Bacon and Corelli. I got to say, for both of those guys, Bacon, it's like 4 in the morning for him, so the fact that he was able to keep up the energy and enthusiasm, that's impressive. And shout out definitely to Corelli for coming in and guest casting for us. That was just amazing to be able to get him in here and do that. But Namby, we've seen some great matches so far in this Swiss format, which is definitely a unique format, but I've been enjoying it myself. Once you kind of get used to it a little bit, you can kind of get in there and kind of see what's going on. And the main thing to remember is 3 wins gets you on and 3 losses and you go home.
And that's also important to note that it all counts on consistency. So if you don't win a few matches, maybe you get a couple of some goals in the next match, it'll still count against you, even if you do somehow tie up the series. And especially with some of these close series, like what we see last time, Splice versus Lights Out. I mean, it looked like Lights Out could have almost easily tied up the series. So that was also a very interesting match to watch as well. So consistency's key. And, I mean, we're still working out the kinks in a little bit for the Swiss system, but it's definitely new sort of mentality that we're seeing in some of these games that sometimes, hey, if Splice already won this many, maybe they don't have to try in this one, because even if they score, you know what? That means they don't have to try as hard.
Yeah, and that's great to point out. I mean, for anyone who maybe is just joining us, it's a little bit different format than you might be used to, where we're playing 4 games. No matter what, we're going to see 4 games in these series. And then if we are tied 2-2, at the end of those 4 games, that's when we have a potential for a tiebreaker situation. And the first tiebreaker that we're going to look at is going to be the goal differential. So the amount of goals that you score and you give up in these series actually matter. So a lot of tournaments, you play a game, maybe you get blown out, you just put that behind you. Well, you don't want to get blown out here, because if you do, that will put you further behind in that tiebreaker situation, and that could definitely come into play. We've seen one golden goal moment so far, even though it wasn't on stream, Namby. I know we did have a match earlier that came down to that deciding 1-goal moment in that 5th game, which I'm sure was exciting. And, we could definitely have that on stream here, especially with the teams being as close as they are.
Yeah, and it's going to be continuing on as we're going to be seeing 2 more sets of 2 sets of 4 games each. So it's going to be 8 more games we're guaranteed going to see. And it's going to be interesting to see, because not tomorrow, but I believe it's Sunday, we still have some more invited teams coming. I mean, let's just try not to, we already tweeted this out. So it's G2, we got, Ghost Gaming, hello, like some of these huge guys that are also before the RLCS hype comes around, and the Northern Arena stuff that's already underway. I mean, it is probably one of the best times to be a Rocket League fan, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. This is all deciding who's going to move on into that Sunday tournament, which is the final bracket. And we've got the 4 teams. You said it, G2, Ghost Gaming, and FlyQuest, and Allegiance as well. So, guys, these matches right here, they matter. Each of these 2 teams that you see, they are 2-2 in this Swiss format. And whichever team here wins will move on to our final tournament on Sunday. We've got 4 games to play for sure, and we may see that golden goal moment, but we are super early here, just getting started. Guys, these 2 teams here have battled to get here. They've had some wins, they've had some losses. They're ready to put it all on the line. This is Merlyn versus Bodis. Early play and neither advantage. We've got all 3 players on the blue side there, back on defense. Ball played down, still pressure there from Faded, looking for that double touch, can't get it. He does have both of his teammates back as they keep the pressure up here. Gonna put that off the back wall yet again. Still looking for a clear. Some trouble here out the gate for Merlyn. They have to play defense, but finally they do get this ball downfield.
Yeah, Mektor just missed that clear off the corner, which gave Tarako some decent space to at least waste some of the boost coming out from Bodis. And it looks like the Bodis are still trying to work on that rotation in the offensive end, because it looks like the corners are still giving them a bit of trouble. Mektor and Solus are still in the same area. Ralph had a shot, but man, this is just going to be a close one as the Bodis are getting bodied now by Merlyn.
Yeah, still an early nothing game, but just as I say that, Tarako gets his team on the board. You can see he played that ball from mid, and the defense No idea how to play that one. They just left him there available in the front of the net. Definitely one they would want back, but in the end, it's still a 1-0 lead here early for this Merlyn squad.
Yeah, Solus, it looked like he was still in a very awkward position. Faded just actually got back, so he was able to respawn in time, but after Taraka was screaming in, the defense was just too confused to do anything.
And now pressure here, yet again here for Merlyn as they keep it up. Ralph up off that back wall. They continue to use that backboard to their advantage. The defense here of the Bodis having some trouble, but finally they push back, get transition. The first offensive chance that they've had as they finally register another shot on the board. See if they can keep it up, though. E-Tech up, faded against that back wall. He kicks it over to the corner. Solus is there, but just waiting. Oh, the whiff there, going to give a chance for Ralph. It's over to the center, E-Tech up, but he can't get it as Mektor cuts it off. There's a nice hard clear downfield. Still just a 1-0 game, Nambi. We talk a lot about the feeling out period in the first game, and I definitely think you'll see that here. And one thing that's really interesting is that goal differential that we talked about. You're going to see much more close games because teams are not going to want to push up and take the sorts of chances that you might see in a regular series.
Yeah, and even if the Bodis lose this game, like let's say that Merlyn keeps this 1-goal lead, and let's say then, and if the Bodis even win the next one with a 2-goal lead, that means technically if they do tie up the series, as if it both goes to 1-1 or even a tie of each, that means the Bodis could have a better chance at this. But right now, what we're seeing from Merlyn, just a lot of great chances. They're not afraid to really go for some of these passing plays, and they want to control that midfield, or even if they clear it, that they can take the boost like E-Tech is doing and just keeping it in their end. Because look at this pass coming from Ralph, a bit too high, but again, only one guy back for the Bodis, and they really don't have an offensive chance after that.
Yeah, and they're not going to get to clear it here either, as that whiff just continues to give offensive pressure here to Merlyn. They've had all the field to work with in their advantage and really haven't had to play defense too much, but there it is, the one chance downfield, and they take full advantage. Solus with the redirect.
And the amount of setup that Merlyn was able to have off of that just was, they had so much time, but Solus just puts the slow play up. E-Tech and Ralph are not reading that at all, and it is tied up in this game, boys. I mean, the Bodis versus Merlyn, this is still really an interesting game versus sort of offense versus defense, and we'll see what comes out on top, especially now there's 1 minute, 23 seconds left.
Yeah, it took them almost 4 minutes to get that goal, but we are now back to a tie game situation. The early lead wiped away for Merlyn. See if they respond here, as they've really had a lot of chances on offense, but still just 1 goal to show for it. There is now Ralph for Merlyn. Out to center, but not going to be enough. The clear's not there. Tarako up with Ralph as well. Ralph tries to get that back, and that is a nice back pass to E-Tech. Can Tarako get there? No, he does not. Really, both teams clogging up mid here, Nambi. You're not seeing a whole lot of shots as we see a ton of plays cut off before they even get there.
Yeah, a lot. I think they're just trying to read each other out. A lot of the read game is very heavy. They don't want any ball to go into the opposite end where they could be down a goal and maybe even down a series. Tarako and E-Tech have to save that, and Ralph just with the quick clear. So Merlyn doing well on the clears, keeping it in the end of the Bodis, but the Bodis, they have definitely had some chances, but once Merlyn are able to crowd the net on either end, it is definitely working so far in Merlyn's favor.
Just 15 seconds to go now in this game. We may be looking at overtime if we don't see a goal here. This is the Bodis pressuring, but no, Faded's going to have to get over. He makes a save, gets there in time, kicks it into the corner, and also gets his own rebound. Good job by him to just to kill that ball, push it into overtime. We have a 1-1 game. Next goal will decide it, and these close games just make it that much more exciting as we move forward into the series. We're looking at those goal totals, which definitely will come into play. This one will be a 1-goal game as we are into overtime. Such a close matchup between these two teams. They both won 2, they both lost 2 in this tournament. They're looking to cash their way into the finals. There's now Faded, tries to beat 2 members of Merlyn. Doesn't get it past, but still the pressure here remains for the Bodis. Can Faded get over? He does. He waits on Ralph, gonna just fake him out, but Ralph still stays with it, able to get the clear.
Faded almost actually had that turnaround, but Solus actually passed it to him, but he didn't trust it. Faded has to save it. And it is still just one of those onslaughts that Merlyn just come out just out of nowhere, and they can't capitalize on it, and the Bodis now have a chance on the offensive end of Merlyn, but Merlyn just close clear.
Still very close. A minute played in overtime, but a chance here for Solus. He can't get that ball on net. There he is yet again. Cuts through the center and redirects it down through. Pressure here still for the Bodis as Faded keeps this play alive. He's going to put it up over at the backboard. Ralph, that clear is very weak. Not going to be enough as his teammate gets in and just keeps this play alive. But finally here for Merlyn, they're going to get the ball back downfield into the Bodis end. That was some sustained pressure there for the Bodis. Still no goal to show for it. As we play overtime, just game one between these two teams, and if this is any indication, this is going to be a very close series.
It's going to be such a close series, but Solus almost had that shot. Ralph and E-Tech actually miss it. They're having plenty of time to have these setups, but Faded, after seeing that all the players are just sitting there with not as much momentum, he's able to carry this into the top left corner. And the Bodis take it 2-1.
Yeah, both members of Merlyn there kind of all going to one side of the field where it would have been better if one just stayed over and hugged that post. Instead, you saw both guys chasing, and in the end, it is the Bodis in a very close game. Game one going to them, but clearly this is anyone's series as we saw 10 shots on the board for the Bodis up against the 8 on the board for Merlyn. And one thing that I really noticed was Solus. He's got the 7 there, and I noticed at one point it was 6-0 for the shots for Solus. So he was just carrying his team on offense for a long while. So good to see his teammates get in there and get some shots as well. And in the end, they can get this win in overtime. But this is just one win in this series, and they've got a whole lot more ground to cover if they're going to get into the finals.
Yeah, and what I was also surprised of is when Merlyn had most of that momentum, especially early on in the game, but the Bodis kind of kept their cool, played most of that defense out until they found that Merlyn actually started clearing the ball downfield. And once they saw that, they're like, hey, we can start taking these balls to their net. And once they start, and we noticed they started sitting in the box a little too long, not challenging the ball, and 2 people would wait for even just one guy to hit it. And you really want somebody to challenge, especially the last person on the offense, so at least maybe you could get some kind of counterattack going.
We will see if they get a bounce back here in game 2. Now we've got this 1-0 lead here for the Bodis. But a quick response here coming from Merlyn, and they get out the gate with a quick goal. That's going to help them to get back into this series. The 50-50 just goes right out to Tarako. Fortunate bounce for him. He makes no mistake.
Yeah, Sextos just didn't get the challenge he wanted, and that forced Faded to just scream in after trying to get some boost. He did get the boost, but what a well-placed ball from Tarako on the right side to make it so it is 1-0. And now seeing these games come out, now Merlyn, we did see an early aggression coming out from Merlyn, but it'll now be the key of can they keep this up?
Yeah, they want to press on offense, that's for sure. We saw sustained pressure from both teams in that previous game, but here it is. That pressure leads to yet another goal, and it's E-Tech. He starts that play off and comes in and gets a sweet little redirect over Solus, just put it up into the upper 90. 2-0 here for Merlyn.
Yeah, E-Tech, that is such a hard shot to make, so you don't want it to hit your wheels in that sense, but you also don't want it to go too far to the left. And he made a great dodge into the ball to get right into the left side of it so he could get the nice goal, even though Faded had not been able to clear it away, and Faded, now he really wants to clear this away, but Tarako's going to be screaming in for the top left, and Solus can't save it, and Tarako's going to put it up to 3-0.
Tarako from the midfield. Faded puts it up, but that clear, not going to do it. It goes up off the ceiling, and it is Tarako there to clean it up. He puts it up into the top, and that is 3-0 now for Merlyn. They have made a statement here after giving up that first game.
They want to have, they're going all-out aggression right now, and Solus, Faded, and Sextos are unable to really answer as of now. It's not even a minute, only a minute has gone by, and it's already 3-0.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge deficit, and honestly, this is really big for this Merlyn squad when we consider that goal differential, because if they can get a big lead here, that will put them in a great spot if it does happen to be a tie series. So right now, you know that even if the Bodis lose this game, they want to get back a couple of these goals. This may be it here, but no, they cannot do it. Solus there just knocking at the door, but cannot punch it home.
It was so close. It went off a waterfall hit. And then Solus was unable to finish that off, but the defense of Merlyn coming out in a pinch to keep it to 3-0.
They may want to just stay on top of this lead. They kind of got that early pressure, put a few goals on, and now they're sort of waiting back. Oh, and that whiff by Faded, certainly one that he'll want back. This is going to extend the lead now for Merlyn to 4-0 as he gets the feels backflip man there. Can't get up for that one, and that's an easy goal there for Ralph.
It's one thing to miss the ball when you're trying to drive after it, but it also feels really bad when you're having to just backflip in place and then the ball is you just completely miss it. And he needs to give himself an opportunity, I think, to maybe put his car out a bit wider in that sense, because it looks like Merlyn, all they do is they love to pass it off of the sidewall or even off of the backboard to make it a waterfall hit. And Faded needs to be careful with some of those clears in the early on of the series, because now it is 4-0.
Yeah, this game looking more and more like it may go. They have a dominant lead. 4 goals, just so difficult to get.
There we go.
There's one back. Sextos comes in. A whiff on defense as Faded kicks the ball out. That's really something they should have had. You see both, well, really all 3 players for Merlyn took a chance at that one in the corner. And in the end, it is a goal. They're getting a little bit open. Maybe they're knowing and realizing the lead that they've got, but they have to understand they want to keep this goal differential that could come into play later.
I think consistency is important, especially simple as that. Just don't triple commit to anything like that unless you know that there's nobody back to do anything about it.
Here's now Faded, kicks it forward. Shot on net, but both E-Tech and Ralph there, and E-Tech follows up. Nice hard clear down into the zone of the Bodis. It bounces into the corner as Sextos is in the air. Weak shot out, though. Tarako's going to put that one on, and it is on net. 5-1 Merlyn. They have broken this game wide open, and no signs of stopping.
And another triple commit coming out of now from the Bodis. So all 3 of them have to take this ball after one of them does not get a great hit off of it. And Tarako, all he has to do is challenge it towards the net to have any kind of difference. So I think with these three teams with their defense, I think they need to work on especially the communication aspect, and it's important to have rotations to keep the goal differential up for at least for Merlyn and for the Bodis.
Yeah, now, Nambi, this might be a situation where if you are Bodis, you got to kind of regroup because this game is out of hand. Obviously, they're probably not going to win this game. So they got to think about what they were doing right in that first game that made them successful and kind of try to get back to that a little bit. We've seen a much more dominant game here from Merlyn. So they may have found out something, maybe a chink in the armor of the Bodis, and it's going to be up to the Bodis to make those adjustments because if not, this could be over real fast.
It could be over, and Tarako just clears it in, and where's the defense? They are nowhere to be found. Sextos, he comes in for the challenge, but it's way over, and Tarako reads it beautifully, puts it right under him, and Solus is not expecting it, has to come back and try to save it, but it is 6-1 for Merlyn. So if they win this game, that means they are way ahead in the goal department, and that also means that the Bodis have to win the next few at least the next few to get back into this game.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning, honestly, they probably have to win this series because this game alone could decide that tiebreaker for them. So it's going to be really, really big that they just get the next 2 wins. If it's just a tie series situation, I could easily see where this could go over to the Merlyn squad. So right now, this game 2 looking like it's going to be Merlyn 6-1, just an absolute dominant bounce back game from them as we finish it out. We're down into the final 30 seconds. This is still just game 2, and this is going to put us into a 1-1 series situation. Remember, guys, 3 wins total in the tournament will get you onto the finals, and each of these teams have won 2 series. So this game is the deciding factor for both of these squads, and as we move forward, we may be getting down to a deciding game I would expect it to be this close, Nambi. I fully expected we would see very close games. Even if this individual game is not very close, I definitely expected close series, especially in this round 5, the final round of our tournament.
Yeah, this is definitely, I mean, it was looking close, at least in the first game with Merlyn versus Bodis, and then the 6-1 coming out from Merlyn. So this gives them a really nice blanket. So all they need to do in this series is literally just tie it, or even better, just win all the rest of them. But it puts a lot less pressure on Merlyn now in the goal arena, that at least now they're very comfortable and they're like, okay, we scored 6 goals. The Swiss system really does work in our favor with regards to at least goals that are scored. So they know that they're pretty good on that. However, if Bodis comes back in the next game and scores that much again, like about, I would say, close to 4 or 5, that means then we could have an interesting series on our hands.
Yeah, definitely. This next game is going to be real crucial, too, because if Merlyn can take a win and they can build on this goal differential that they've got going, that's going to be really, really hard for Bodis to come back, because they'll know that they not only have to win the next game, but they have to win on a very large amount of goals as well. And that's going to be really, really tough. So that's what I kind of like about this format. I know it's a little confusing at face value, but straightforward, 3 wins get you on, and the number of goals matter. That's kind of the thing to really pay attention to, is the number of goals that the teams are scoring. So 6-1 going to be massive for them moving forward. And we'll see how they can do in game 3. This may be over if they can take this next game here. Server gone down on us, Sammy. This server's not going to cooperate. So we're going to get another one going.
Tonight's really special because I love when Psyonix goes servers down for maintenance. Now, you know that on our part, it is just, there's no control over that. I mean, we'll get another server going, but I mean, speaking of last game, so Merlyn going on a really decent rampage here, especially with the 6-1. So in total, Merlyn has 7 goals that they've scored. The Bodis, just for their goal differential, they only have 3. So that means that they have to at least score 4 to be tied with them, and then win the game, and then not let their opponents score, because remember, it all adds up, it's all cumulative, plus the game wins, which puts you in a better spot, especially going into Sunday, when you have to actually verse the top players in this game.
Yeah, and honestly, if I were them, I'd be focused to just get the win any way that you can, because if it comes down to that goal differential, it's probably not going to be good for them. So they need to just focus on getting wins right now, just take the next 2 games, knock it out. Don't even worry about that tiebreaker situation. But after they went down and lost that game 6-1, that's going to be a pretty tough task for them. So we'll see. This is game 3, guys, of this 4-game series. And remember, this is a Swiss-style format. You can do ! bracket in the chat. We'll help guide you along a little bit as well as we move forward. So game 3, this decides another one of our teams is going to the finals. E-Tech here for Merlyn. Into the air, Ralph there as well, but a nice block there. Puts that ball right out to Solus, who goes up to Faded. Faded with the fancy twirl, doesn't get the ball, but the offensive pressure is there. Here's now E-Tech into the side. Up off that sidewall, gonna take it all by himself over to the corner. Faded though, nice hit right out to Solus, and the patience there from Mektos. Does he get it? No, he cannot, despite having the patience to put that one on. Open net, doesn't finish it off.
Are you kidding me right now? Like, they had 3-on-1, and then at least I think Tarako fades it away. They had another shot, then Ralph saves it. Like, Merlyn right now is doing absolutely insane stuff right now, keeping the ball out and keeping at least some of the composure coming out from the second game. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's just huge right there. Keeps it a 0-0 game. It's maybe a lot more close, similar to that first game that we saw. Remember, that was a pretty close first game, and then we just saw that breakout coming there for Merlyn. Now here is Solus down to Faded. Faded gets it on, but Tarako with that bicycle save. He's already got 2 saves on the board and 2 more coming from his teammates. That's 4 saves now for Merlyn early in this game, just showing the offensive chances that we've seen from Bodis. Now Bodis on defense. Ralph gonna put that ball on. Faded, weak clear. Gives E-Tech a chance. E-Tech around, looking for Tarako in the center. Tarako gonna get it, puts that on, but Solus there makes the stop.
It's a close one. I know that Merlyn wanting to now establish their offensive presence now with all their confidence going into this game. But the Bodis need to really settle that down and keep it into the Merlyn zone, because we know the Merlyn can crack if they are under pressure like what Solus is doing. Both defenders having to go up for the same ball. So they know they can crack under the pressure, but just it'll depend on if they can keep it. But Faded, what a carry off of the backboard into the net.
You said it, off of that corner. That angle is just insane. Who tries an air dribble from that far in? But it's Faded, and he makes it work. 1-0 there for the Bodis, and with plays like that, they may have a chance still. Remember, it's still 1-1, Namby, and that play from Faded was just fantastic.
Yeah, keeping his team up. They need this win. This is I would say even a must-win for the Bodis, and now they need to up their score count even more to add that more consistency and to at least lessen the gap so they have another chance into the next game.
Yeah, they want to build on this, that's for sure. Or they can just win. Kind of two ways to do it, right? Two ways to that path. So if they can just stay up on top here and get this win, that'll be good. They're continuing the pressure here as now we see Mektos. He's going to come in and go for that one, looking for the double touch. Can't get it. But that gives Solus some time to keep this going. Rocco all by himself there. Ralph backing him up, getting that desperation save. The pressure here from the Bodis. Is this the same team that we just saw lose 6-1? What is going on?
I think they are more confident in some of their hits, especially they're not very as awkward as they sometimes are, but Tarako's already passing it to Ralph. Solus reads it. They're getting more confident in the reads, but they're not exactly executing 100%. Some miscommunications in the offense. And so now you're seeing Solus and Faded look like they're kind of going for the same ball, but don't exactly do it. And then Mekto, he has a chance to get this past Ralph, but Ralph reads it. What a read from Ralph to keep it so it is still 1-0. But the Bodis, they're just barely be able to make it past him.
Yeah, Ralph cut off that angle, forced that shot wide, as we saw. Nice patience there from Mektos. He's done that a couple times now. Definitely see that from the high-level players. You know, you like to talk about players being good at ones, but let's be honest, most of these higher-level players are very, very good at ones as well. So they know how to play patient. They know how to fake out the other team. We're now down to 30 seconds to go in this game, and this is the Bodis holding on to this 1-0 lead. If they can take the win here, they will go back up into the series 2-1, which will put them in a very good spot to just go ahead and take this and move forward into the finals. They have had so much pressure in this game now, Namby. That's 9 shots on the net for the Bodis to just the 4 shots for Merlyn. So this has been all them. There's Faded up off that back wall. Remember, he scored off the side wall. He looks for another air dribble. Does not get it, but the time continues to click away on the clock, and with Ralph bouncing that ball down, that may just do it. They have the boost to keep this ball in the air. Got the bounce.
They got the corner.
Still up. Tarako there. E-Tech as well. Can they get it? Oh my goodness! Are you kidding me? The last second save on the goal line, stopping that. That was in for sure, but no, it's not going to happen. The 0-second play, not in the books, not in the cards there for Merlyn. Instead, they lose this game, and it's the Bodis 2-1 in the series.
So this is interesting now, because if the Bodis win the next game, they don't even need that goal count. Like, you can just take away any goal counts that they had, and they could definitely beat Merlyn. However, if Merlyn just even wins this game, and if it's a close one, Merlyn wins it. So that goal that didn't quite make it to overtime, I mean, I know it keeps both teams in one, but that was it was on the line, Sam. I was so close into going in.
That was unbelievable. I sat there and watched as he had the chance at that, and I actually don't even know who made that goal line stop, but that was just absolutely huge. Right now, the running MVP, you got to figure whoever was there to make that stop, the running MVP for his team, stops it from going overtime and gives now that 2-1 advantage here. And you said it, this is such an interesting development. I love the way that this series is going, because this really shines, shows how the format shines, I think, because right now, if the win here comes from Bodis, then that's it. Then they win the entire thing. But if they lose here and they don't get a ton of goals, that's going to be it as well. Even though it would be 2-2 in the series, they would be going home. So this is huge. This game here, implications on the finals to see which team is going to make it forward into Sunday. Because this tournament isn't over. This is only the middle leg of our tournament. We have a whole nother round of things going on Sunday. Ooh, faded, good carry. Oh, he's going to take out Tarako as well. That leaves Solus with an opportunity. Good job taking out the defender. Doesn't get the demo, but still gives his team some time. See now Mektos comes in as both his teammates go back for some boost. That buys time for them and gives them another nice chance here. Faded, not on net. Instead, it's going to be up over the goal, and E-Tech does get the clear.
I think you should have put that a little bit lower. Even if it went off the backboard, you wanted to make it so it's kind of a slower shot, so it confuses the defense a little bit. But since he power shotted that was supposed to go a bit under the crossbar, so a bit of a misplay from the Bodis offense. So in this situation, the Bodis need to win this game, and they don't even have to win it by much. But even if Merlyn wins it, it'll be still a tie series, but they win it just based on how many goals they have. We're not expecting a high-scoring game, so we're predicting it's going to be close.
Yeah, it's funny because you know that the Bodis, they don't want to give up any goals at all. But at the same time, they just got to win this because they probably aren't going to get it anyway. But there is a goal. They cannot get it. Too much floundering on the goal line there as it just bounces up over the backboard. You see Solus missed it, and that left Mektos really, really out of position. He does the best job he can in that corner. Really not a bad attempt at that shot, but not able to get the goal. And Merlyn now, 1-0. They position themselves in a good spot. They can just ride this 1-0 lead, and they would take the series. We'll see if they'll try to do that or if they'll try to push up. They're looking for some more offense now as Ralph looks to the center. He doesn't have E-Tech or Tarako. Both players do come back into their end. Tarako looking off that side, going to take it himself. Doesn't get it. E-Tech recognizing the play's not there. Just going to rotate back around. There's now Faded. Cuts that one off. Mektos heads up play. Keeps it alive, but Faded doesn't have the boost to make a play on that. Instead, just going to have to allow Solus to make that defensive stop. But that does give field position now to Merlyn. Time is ticking away. Merlyn with the 1-0 lead. Doesn't seem like a lot, but after they had a 6-1 win in game 2, 1-0 may be all it will take for them. Ralph over to E-Tech, but he doesn't have anyone up. That's going to be an easy clear for Solus. Right now, it's interesting. We're not seeing a whole lot of offense from Bodis, and I think that's the play from Merlyn. I believe they recognize the situation that they're in, Nambi. You can tell they're playing extremely defensively.
Yeah, and Mektos just hanging on that corner. He is in a really uncomfortable position, so if Ralph had a better shot on that, Mekto could have been in a very weird spot, especially when he's on the wall there on the corner. And all the Bodis really have to do is just score a minimal amount to win it. So this is very interesting because usually we would think that if the Bodis are up 2 in the series, usually it'd be a best of 5. But in this case, if you have more stuff at least at risk, especially with your goal count, this makes it even more interesting because now, even though Merlyn had a lead, but the Bodis won the second game, that means it's really whoever wins this wins it.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, you can see it in their play. They know it as well. Both teams still playing extremely safe. Faded now into the corner, has Solus and Mektos back. Solus up, but E-Tech is there. That defense from Merlyn just uncompromising right now as they almost always have 2 guys back. Oh, Solus! That could be the save for his team of the tournament as he kicks that one out, and another one coming there, but the offensive onslaught from Merlyn just too much as they continue to press here. The Bodis trying to get a clear. It's going to take another one from Solus, but that's a weak shot out. And Faded do it. He does. Finally gets it past E-Tech and Tarako, and they get that desperation clear, much needed for them.
Yeah, Ralph had to get that important block to keep it away, but Tarako misses it, so this is an interesting situation. Usually we see Merlyn kind of flail a little bit. Merlyn are a bit low on boost, so this offensive chance is going to come out too quickly, but both these teams are playing so safe They know that they don't want to give up any kind of goals to lose the series, because now they know that anyone could lose it. Faded has not had some of the best opportunities in this, but has kept his team just on the brink. And I want to see this go to overtime. I got to see it, because now we need to go 1-1.
Yeah, the Bodis, this is their last chance. We're down under 10 seconds. They need a goal here or they will go home. Faded up off the wall. We are 1 second mark. This ball cannot drop. And they can't get there in time. No boost, not enough. Merlyn, they hang on in what has been a interesting series for them. 1-0 is all it took in this game for them to get this tie. So even though it's a tie, it's 2-2 for the series. But with that goal differential win, it's going to be Merlyn that take it home, and they're going to be one of our next teams to qualify for the finals.
Yeah, so they're going to be going it up some stiff competition on Sunday. So it'll definitely be teams that are a lot harder than the Bodis. We can guarantee that, because G2 Ghost, FlyQuest, and Team Allegiance are going to be coming in, which is going to be very high for Sunday. So, I mean, we have a little bit of a break Saturday to kind of, build up the suspense a little bit. But, I mean, with regards to this game, I know I think the key person of that game was Tarako, because even some of those really dumb clears that they did have, it really did make a difference, especially early on in the series, and like they did in Game 2 and in this last Game 4 for their defense, just totally coming out, especially from the Bodis. But Tarako, really, I think he's MVP of Merlyn right now.
Yeah, and it's tough too when you see the style that Merlyn was playing. Like I said, they fully understand the format, and they knew the position that they were in, and you could see it with how much they were playing back. So those weak clears, or even those clears where you just feed the ball back downfield, they're just not going to work, because the opponent is ready to just put the ball right back down into your end. And even though we didn't see a ton of actual maybe goal scoring chances for Merlyn, it didn't matter, because once they got that one goal, they were in a great position. So yeah, that's kind of the format that we've got, and really the exciting part about this tournament, because you can't just win one series. You can't even necessarily win, tie the series. You still may be going home. So that's just awesome. I love that about the format and what we're doing. But that means now, Nambi, we've got Jimmers, Seoul Esports, Splice, Zabumafu, 3 noobs playing threes, and now Merlyn, which have now qualified for the finals. So I think that leaves 2 more teams to round out our 8 teams that will meet the 4 in our finals. So we have got one more match on stream that's going to decide that, to see who is going to be one of those final teams making it in. So guys, do not go anywhere. Please give us some time. Take a quick break here, but we're going to get these teams lined up, and we'll be right back with the continuation of the Spring Open.